This is what started it all. This is where I learnt everything from the open chord caged system to Eddie Van Halen's Eruption. This is really where my musical journey began. Now I know it looks a lot like a BC Rich Warlock, but as you can probably see from both the logo on the headstock and also, the keen-eyed might notice that the shape of the body isn't exactly the same as the classic Warlock shape is. It definitely isn't a BC Rich. It's a cheap Chinese knockoff branded Freedom. What you can probably also tell is that it's pretty worse for wear. I got this guitar for my 12th birthday back in 2007. And to be honest, it has mostly been sitting around in my studio for the better part of probably 10 years, collecting dust and really not being utilized for what it was made for. So today I'll be restoring the guitar to its former glory and also giving it a few upgrades along the way. Now, even though I've owned this guitar for almost 18 years, I actually know nothing about the brand Freedom. So I thought, let's learn together. We'll hop over to Google and see what we can find. So Freedom guitars. Looks like the brand is still being manufactured. Oh wow, it's actually an Australian brand. I didn't know that. Very simple website. Acoustic guitars, electric guitars, and accessories. They've got a small variety of acoustic guitars. They've also got a small variety of electric guitars. Unfortunately, no longer the BC Rich copy, but your standard array of what you would expect from a small guitar manufacturer brand that is doing sort of cheap copies of popular instruments. Anyway, let's get back to the guitar repair. So first thing I'm gonna do is remove these old strings, which have probably been sitting on this guitar for the better part of 10 years. So much so that I'm actually struggling to get the strings out, and I'm having to poke them from the top just to push the little ball ends out. I then want to go in and double check the electronics and the pickups. As you can see as well, the pickups that are installed currently are actually a nice set of active EMG pickups, which I got installed, I think about 2 years after I got the guitar. So I wanted to just double check the wiring and everything like that is still all good. Looks like it is. I'm then gonna go ahead and take off the bridge because I've got a brand new matte black bridge from Wilkinson to install in there. This is the first time that I've actually taken this guitar apart. I've had it serviced by a professional luthier in the past, but this is the first time I'm gonna attempt to fix it up. I'm then gonna go ahead and re-oil the fretboard, which again, I haven't done this in probably about 10 years. There's quite a bit of gunk that's built up on the fretboard, and it's going to need a few coats of oil. I'm then going to go ahead and take out the tuning pegs because I've also got a brand new set to drop in there of, again, matte black Wilkinson locking tuners. Then going to go back along the neck and give it its last coat of oil and clean up the front and back of it as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the new tuning pegs. And as I begin to install the nut section, I realize that I tightened the back screws too much, and they were a little bit stiff trying to get the nut section in. So I loosened them up. And then come back in with a wrench to tighten the nuts up before then retightening the screws. I'm then going to go ahead and install the new bridge. And at this point, I realized that the bridge I got, even though I measured it beforehand, isn't actually fitting right, but I get it installed anyway. I then reinstall the tension springs. And begin putting the pickups back in, giving them a little bit of a clean around the housing. I then realized that I want to use the new spring system that came with the new Wilkinson bridge. So I take out the old one, put in the new one, and then I go and grab my soldering iron. And I was also going to replace the jack, but I realized that the pickup system has actually come with its own special type of jack, which also connects partly to the 9-volt battery that powers the pickups. And I decided not to mess with that because, as you can probably tell here, I'm not the best at soldering. So I didn't want to mess too much up when it comes to the electrical system. So I'm just resoldering the ground wire to the new grounding point. I then go and install the new jack plate to the old jack, which again is just another nice matte black instead of a silver one that was originally on there. Go ahead, tighten everything up, get rid of the soldering iron because I no longer need it. Put in the final screws for the bridge, which this was very finicky because, again, as I said, the pre-drilled holes didn't quite line up with the holes in the new bridge. Then tidy up my workspace. I then install a new 9-volt battery courtesy of Duracell. I then go ahead and double check that the pickups are working as they should just by plugging it into my interface and tapping on the pickups with a screwdriver just to make sure that there is level coming through and it's all good. I then put the remaining screws back into the pickup holders, and now it's time to put a fresh new pack of strings onto the guitar. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the gauge size that I wanted. This pack is currently a set of 10 to 52s. I did want to get a set of 12 to 56s because I do want to use this guitar for lower tunings. Drop C, drop B, and drop A. Mostly drop B, I think this guitar will be set to, but this will do for now. Once I'm finished installing the strings, I'm going to go ahead, check the intonation. So now that the guitar's all done, ready to go, it's time to write a new song. Well, that was really fun. I really enjoyed getting this guitar back in action. I've got so much history, so much of, blood, sweat, and tears probably in the fretboard of the guitar that have really seeped into then my musical playing. So it's amazing to get it back up in action, and I've got some plans for what I want to use this guitar for in the future, but that'll be coming in another video. However, if you'd like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, check out one of these other videos that's appearing before me, and you'll catch me in the next one.